It's Waxing Lyrical, baby.
Hello, Waxers, and welcome to Waxing Lyrical, Mains and Dutch. I'm your host, Mains, and my colleague in the danger zone in Rainford is Mr. Neil Dutton. How are we, Neil?
Well, I didn't think we'd get it. I have to admit, I was one of the naysayers. But if you recall, the wokest motherfucker in the room did tell us we would get to this stage. So, yet again, the podfather was right.
The podfather was right, Neil, as always. But Neil, no one really cares whether you're wrong or right. That's not why we're here. We're here because it's week one. We got some predictions and we got some fancy teams of the week to express. We haven't got darlings and losers this week. It's week one, and we don't really know. Neil will say he knows, but week one's a crapshoot. So we're just going to pick a daily fancy team. First of all, though, I'd like to introduce a guest who's going to be with us throughout the show. She's decreed that she won't be doing fantasy, but I'm sure she'll give us some input, as I know I'll pick Seattle players in my teams. It's Liz, or as you may know her on Twitter, at NFLGirlUK, founder and writer at NFLGirl.com, and the absolute hostess with the mostess when it comes to NFL UK fan meetup. Liz, how are we today?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Anytime. So this week we're going to quickly plug into the mains. The mains this week will be a couple of news items, and then we're going to get straight into predictions for the season. And then, as we mentioned, we'll get onto the fancy bit a little bit later. So let's head right on and start plugging into the mains. Dutch, Liz, say it. Oprah Winfrey, everyone gets a contract meme here. No one has told the NFL community about a global recession and about teams not making as much money, as a lot of players in the upper echelons of the NFL are getting some serious coin over the past 7 days since we were last here. Three main ones are Deshaun Watson, Jalen Ramsey, and Nuke Hopkins. Dutton, talk about one of them for me. Which one do you see as the biggest contract?
Well, for me, the biggest contract would obviously be Deshaun Watson. He has not gone down the Patrick Mahomes route of I'm going to be here for 10 years and make it very, very friendly for the team for the majority of this next decade. He's gone down the pay me now, and then in 5 years you can pay me again, or some other bugger will. It's quite incredible. We've gone from a 30 million a year player to a 40 million a year player in the space of about 3 years. Whereas it took us nearly 10 years to go from 20 million to 30 million. Obviously, we know that if this was a normal year, this is what you pay for your franchise quarterback. But it's not a normal year. But we know that Bill O'Brien, as we said, the GM is trying to get the coach fired. But it made perfect sense that they had to lock him down. Although, I will stress quickly, though, the Rams, as Patrick Doherty did point out, could try not giving players 60 million guaranteed. Just try it.
I wish they'd try it after I've joined the Rams, as I've already sent tape over to Sean McVay. Liz, Jalen Ramsey or Nuke Hopkins, which one of those intrigues you the most?
Hopkins for sure. He's now officially the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, so I mean that's pretty exciting. He negotiated the deal himself, and he's getting a massive payday.
It's an outrageous. It's not outrageous like all contracts are outrageous, but it is a serious sum of money.
Yeah.
And I think what I always find quite interesting about the Nuke one is that all I've heard from every single fantasy podcast I've listened to is how Nuke Hopkins isn't as valuable this year. Luckily, the Arizona Cardinals didn't listen to any of those fancy podcasts as they decided to pay him somewhere in the region of 20 million a year.
Insane.
I mean, he was, according to overthecap.com, before this deal's come on, we should give Jason at least a minute to try and update the site with all this information. He was behind in terms of total value. Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Michael Thomas, AJ Green, Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham, Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks. These were all supposed to get more money, than DeAndre Hopkins this year. So obviously that has righted a little bit of a wrong. The fact as well that, he's not paying an agent for it, so basically means he's keeping an awful lot more of this coin. Believe me, the agent community will not like that.
But that's happening quite a lot, though. Like, there's quite a lot of players who are now doing this whole negotiation thing themselves. So, I think it's quite interesting that this is the road they're going down. Fair play, though.
Do you negotiate your own contracts, Neil?
I just get told to do what I'm doing. So no.
No. I'll take Jalen Ramsey for 500 then. As you quite rightly pointed out, and as our friend Roto Pat, the greatest mustache in the land, pointed out, the Rams love paying players millions and millions of dollars. Jalen Ramsey proves the rule that me and Neil have discussed multiple times on this show, is that the salary cap actually doesn't exist. Because if it existed, the Rams would not be able to pay someone else in the region of $105 million.
But the real scary thing is, we know that the Jared Goff, if they were to cut him, the dead money would be $78 million. Which they're not going to cut Jared Goff, obviously. If they were to cut Aaron Donald, who apparently is bad at football now, I don't know if you heard the news, mate. We've all been wrong.
The news. I heard the riposte from his former defensive coordinator as well. Yeah. Lol, from an 80-year-old man. Capital L, capital O, capital L from Coach Phillips.
So if they were to cut Aaron Donald, it would be $60 million in dead money. The real scary thing about this money is they're paying Goff, they're paying Donald, they're paying Higbee. They're also paying They're also accounting for $36 million against their cap for players who are no longer on this roster. They're 21.8 for Brandon Cooks, 11.75 for Todd Gurley, $2 million for Clay Matthews, and $220,000 for a John Franklin Myers, whatever that is. $36 million of their 2020 cap is for players not on the roster. Bear in mind, they don't have a first-round pick until, I don't know, Donald Trump Jr. runs for president. I don't think this is sustainable.
The thing I love about that, Neil, is you just reminded me that Clay Matthews played for the LA Rams, because I'd completely forgotten about it. As did most Rams fans. Yeah, crazy. And they're probably the third best team in their division.
You can make that case.
And I'm making it right now on the podcast.
I mean, the thing is, the Jalen Ramsey, his cap number this year was 13.7 million anyway, because he was playing under the option. So you'd assume that number is coming down, but you just wonder how much they're going to be paying next year, the year after, until they can eventually start picking in the first round again.
Love it. That's the contracts, but the thing that people come for, Neil, is the predictions bound to go wrong.
I was going to say, is it?
Well, it's not. All of last year, we actually did do predictions bound to go wrong and got loads of them right, which is weird. But, because of the season, we haven't actually managed to do that this year, so we can't be clever. So we're going to give you the standard ones. Each of us have picked an MVP, an offensive rookie of the year, a defensive rookie of the year, a comeback player of the year, and a coach of the year. So we're going to start, ladies first. MVP, Liz, who have you got?
It's too obvious. It's a bit of a bad one, but yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think they're going to have this Super Bowl hangover that some of the winning and losing teams have. At the end of the day, I think his talent is going to still keep him at the very top of the position and top of the league as well. So yeah, him all the way.
Neil, I know who you pick, so wax more lyrical on Patrick Mahomes, please. At 4-1, by the way, for those who were involved in that kind of debauchery.
In the interest of efficiency, would it not be easier for you to just cut what I'm about to say and we'll put it in next year as well?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes as long as he's in the NFL.
Most talented quarterback in NFL equals favourite for MVP. It's been like that for about 20 years. Mahomes 4-1. Not only is he probably the most talented quarterback in the NFL right now, he also has an offensive genius as his head coach. and loads of really quick lads who we can throw it to, who get a load of yards after catch. And that's good news for all Kansas City Chiefs fans. Neil, here's a question for you, and Liz. If I set the line at 33 points for every game, would you think they were more likely to score over 33 points every single game or under?
I think more likely over.
Liz, do you think they get 33 a game?
Yeah, why not?
So, yeah, easy. Neil, go to you first. A few of the year.
I think it's usually a quarterback, unless there's a absolute stud running back. It's never a wide receiver because balls. Beckham I think was one, but it doesn't really matter. Joe Burrow. I think the bar for him to be Defensive Rookie of the Year is ridiculously low, as all he has to do is make the Bengals watchable. He has a talented cast of characters around him. He has a crummy defense, which means he's going to have to pass the ball an awful lot. So I think all rookie passing records, Andrew Luck, I think, had the passing yardage, and we know Baker Mayfield had the touchdowns. I think they're all in play for Joe Burrow this year.
Liz, who have you got for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
So I've gone for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so he's the running back for the Chiefs. To be honest, he's arguably the most dynamic back to the league's most potent offense. So yeah, him all the way, I reckon.
I mean, that's it. That, as you said, that's a guy who I watched a bit of college, didn't know anything really about him, and now he is second favourite for NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, about 3.5 to 1. Neil's got Burrow at like 5 to 2. I've actually gone for the third pick in this one. I've gone for Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, nailed the surname, go me. This does obviously mean the passing of Ryan Fitzpatrick after about week 3 or week 4. But after that, I feel Tua might play, and I think he's better than Joe Burrow. I've been saying it for a while, and I will continue to say it.
The main worry that I have with Clyde Edwards-Helaire means I'm sure you can guess why I'd be worried about him in general this season.
Yeah,
well, I think he's obviously in a perfect situation. I think he's suited to it. But you know damn well why I'm worried about Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Because for the past 20 years of watching the NFL, me and you, you've screamed at Andy Reid because he didn't use his running back enough.
Yeah. I'm on the right side of history.
Buyers beware, but Vegas thinks he's the second favourite, so maybe they know something we don't after 20 years of watching the NFL.
Pa.
Yeah, pa, exactly, indeed. Screw you, large houses. It's a Rookie of the Year. I'll go first. I hate this. I absolutely hate doing this. As Neil will know, Liz may not. I hate picking Washington players in anything. I don't pick them in fantasy. I don't pick them to win things. But let's not be stupid about this. Chase Young should win this hands down quite comfortably. He might win it. Week 1. Against a decrepit Jason Peters. We shall see. He's 5 to 2, and I think he's nailed on to win this award. Neil, who have you got?
There are certain positions that become synonymous with teams throughout the years. Obviously, you've got the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, obviously, they've only been in the league for 25 years, but the middle linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens is something that strikes fear into the hearts of tight ends and running backs alike. So if the Baltimore Ravens take Patrick Queen, and he's going to start, he's going to be in the running for this award. And, this is not me shilling for the bosses, as it were. Patrick Queen, is a tackling machine. So, as much as I appreciate that Chase Young is this godly, otherworld talent, he plays for Washington, and I have, they don't get any faith from me.
It's true. That's true. That's true. By the way, that pick was brought to you by writer for Ravens Wire and regular name drop on Ravens.com. Liz, who have you got for Defensive Rookie of the Year?
So I was the same as you, Chase Young. At the end of the day, I think if every team in the draft could have chosen him, then I believe they would have. So yeah, Chase all the way.
I think it's an easy one. It scares me because he plays for Washington, and that means something really bad will happen to him, and I feel sorry for him.
Mate, just a quick one. Do you remember the good old days where teams would have to negotiate with a player before the draft, and occasionally that could lead to them not picking them because they couldn't make a deal with them? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but I always remember. I can still remember. Well, at the same time, I was reading someone posted on. It was in one of our groups about is this guy the worst first round pick ever? I can't remember who it was. Oh, Josh Rosen. So I googled Akili Smith, because I think it's Akili Smith, and I didn't realise that it took until like 2 days before the start of the season before he'd agreed his contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. Like now, there's with the collective bargaining agreement, he just slotted into a position you don't really hear about holdouts. But I remember where that was a news story that all the first round picks were almost news stories that they were negotiating their own deals. Hi Sam Bradford and your $70 million or whatever you got. Comeback player of the year, Liz. Who have you got for this one?
So for this one, I've gone for Alex Smith. I think after witnessing everything that he's gone through, how could you not root for him? Like, I think even if, for example, he doesn't play, he deserves this award for getting this far. So yeah, I'm going to go with Alex Smith.
Yeah, I've also gone for Alex Smith. He's at 11-2 and I'm with you, Liz. If he comes in for a half and throws a ball and someone catches it, I don't care what anybody else does, because I watched that show where his leg fell off. Literally, his leg fell off. So I'm going for Alex Smith as well. Neil, you haven't gone for Alex Smith because we don't believe in humanity. So who have you gone for?
Well, as much as the comeback story of the year is certainly Alex Smith, and Jesus Christ, mate, just pack in. You've proved to everyone the power of positivity and the desire that these people have to push themselves, to not let even 17 surgeries stop them from getting back on the field. It's incredible. My hat goes off to you. However, he's not going to play very much, and I don't think the vote's going to go with the sympathy vote. He'll get something. I think, at the honest thing, he'll walk up and he'll get something. But for me, the comeback player of the year will be Cam Newton, just because I think a lot of people are sleeping on him, and we all know that when the Patriots go 10-6, they're not going to give Belichick the coach of the year, but they have to acknowledge that they were successful in some way. And I think the easiest way to do that is to give it to Cam Newton.
Correct. Good point, Neil. Staying with you, Neil, who's your coach of the year?
I really hate this, but I have to build on my boldness from last week. Yeah. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to the NFC Championship game. So I think because, again, I think Sean Payton doesn't really get the awards that Bill Belichick doesn't get either, because they don't like Sean Payton. I don't think Andy Reid's going to get it because he's Andy Reid. It's like, oh, you're a good coach. Yeah, I know. So, I don't think, I just think it's that type of thing. So I'm going to go with Mike Zimmer. And, unfortunately, it comes down to, be a dinosaur head coach, run the ball a lot, get, win fabulous prizes in doing so.
The thing is, though, Neil, he's a dinosaur head coach who wants to run the ball a lot. But if I wanted to run the ball a lot, I'd get Gary Kubiak to be my offensive coordinator because he makes running cool.
Yeah, it's not just the Bill Callahan, we're just going to line up behind a fullback and go straight into the middle of the line every play. It's actually, we might do this, or we might do that.
Liz, who have you got for Coach of the Year?
So I've gone with Bruce Arians. Couple of reasons. So I think he's been transforming that team. He started obviously that last year when he started, but they've got some great new additions this season. Obviously got themselves a new quarterback, albeit he's an aging quarterback. But I think with all of that, I'm confident he's going to produce a really good team here. So who knows, make the playoffs, make the Super Bowl. Discuss more on that later.
I love the way that Liz spent the whole time talking about Tampa Bay there and didn't mention Tom Brady. Just said new quarterback or aging quarterback. Super cool.
Didn't need to say it. Didn't even need to.
No, exactly. Coach of the Year for me is someone who I thought did a fantastic job last year, and I think this year could win if things break his way 8+ games. That's Brian Flores, head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Wonderful coach, in my opinion, did a fantastic job last year. I think if he gets to it on the field and they start winning some games, I think there's a real chance that they are really good this year. So, yeah, Brian Flores, who, weirdly enough, Neil, has better Mike Zimmer to win Coach of the Year.
Really?
But I think that we both assume that the Vikings will win the division and the Dolphins won't.
Do you owe your dad money or something? Was this a very positive Dolphins spin you've got going so far?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Christ.
If we move on, we were also going to look at surprise of the year. Neil, what's your surprise of the year?
My surprise of the year, and you can both suck it, was that Alex Smith will throw at least one touchdown pass this year. I think, I don't know whether it'll be, I hope for your sake it's not a Dwayne Haskins injury. It might be a blowout you're having against some. But I think that the situation will present itself that Alex Smith will throw at least one touchdown pass. I'd like to say he might run for one, but I won't.
So, Liz, who's your surprise this year?
So I've gone with the Indianapolis Colts. Couple of reasons being that they've been working really hard to rectify the weaker areas that they've been doing. They've been working on it since last season, and they've got some new additions. So Phillip Rivers, DeForest Buckner, Roderick Blankenship, and Chase McLaughlin. So I kind of feel as a team they've filled those gaps, and I think they've solidified what they kind of needed to, really. So I think if that lineup comes together, then yeah, there's absolutely an opportunity for the Colts to make it to the Super Bowl.
Love it. My surprise of the year, may as well just double down, is the Miami Dolphins. Weirdly, I've done this, and I don't necessarily see them making the playoffs, but I think they will be in with a chance of making the playoffs in week 17. So that's why I've gone for them as the surprise of the year. Who's going to be your biggest disappointment this year, Liz?
So for me, there's not a player, it's not a team, it's the fact that we're getting no London games. And I know that can't be helped. No one's chosen for this time to be, but I'm just going to miss meeting up with everyone. There's always such a good atmosphere, but no, have to watch the games at home instead. In fact, we'll never even know what the games were even meant to be.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one. I think, that the whole no fan situation in a lot of teams could have a major impact, but we're hopefully not too bad. Neil, who's your disappointment?
You, Albin, when Derek Carr starts every single game, because they just eat.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone so happy for someone else to go on IR as Neil was when Marcus Mariota went on IR.
It was the fact that somebody else brought it to your attention on the Twitter.
Sad times. My biggest disappointment is everybody else's. Well, a lot of other people's sneaky Super Bowl pick. A lot of other people's favourite team. America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of players, a lot of talent, but as Neil and people who listen to Wax and Lyrical would know, I have a narrative, and that narrative is Mike McCarthy's not a very good head coach. I don't know why I would change this narrative. May he be better than Jason Garrett? Possibly, but that doesn't mean they're going to be any good. So, yeah, screw you,
Continue
Cowboys.
The feud.
Continue.
Reignite the feud.
Reignite the feud with Mike McCarthy. Let's now get on to picks for teams for playoffs, AFC, NFC, title games, and the like. Let's do it division by division. AFC East, Liz, who's winning the division?
Yeah, so actually we were discussing AFC division winners on the End Zone Scoop podcast earlier, and I basically got the piss ripped out of me because one, my picks were ridiculous, and two, I actually chose a team that wasn't even in the division in the first place, so that was great. But anyway, I'm replenishing my picks from what I did there. So yeah, AFC East, I'm going to go with Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they haven't won since 1995, and I kind of feel like if it's going to be any year, this could be the one.
What's my favourite stat about the AFC East and the Bills? Mine's
the Indianapolis Colts have won the AFC East more recently than the Buffalo Bills.
That's the one.
Scary yet true. Liz, what I like about what you've done there is you've shown a lot of bravado, a lot of chutzpah to pick the Buffalo Bills when Bill Belichick's still the division. Me and Neil have none of those things. Absolutely zero. And as we have continually said for possibly 3 years on this show, I'm going to pick the New England Patriots until someone beats them. Neil, are you the same?
I'm happy to be a year late with the Patriots than a year late because I'm fed up of trying to be a year early. Patriots division until told otherwise.
AFC South, Neil, who have you got?
AFC South, I have the Indianapolis Colts.
I also have the Indianapolis Colts. Liz, who do you have?
So I did initially have the Indianapolis Colts, and for the reasons I gave earlier, but I don't know. I think Tennessee Titans are going to get this one.
Okay, I like it. Tennessee Titans. That's a Derrick Henry lover right there. Is it worth discussing the AFC West? It's the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
There's really no point. We should just move on.
Although anyone listening won't know, you've already wasted enough of my time tonight, so let's move on.
Yeah. AFC North. Ravens?
Repeat, yeah.
Yeah. I mean Ravens, but then I don't know. Steelers could do it. Big Ben's back is healthy, but no, I'd still prefer the Ravens to do it.
Welcome to my side of the world. Okay, let's have your 2 wildcard teams, Liz, in the AFC.
Three wildcard.
Three wildcard teams, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna pass.
Do you want to give yours?
Yes, I have the Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee, and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Fair play.
I'm buying into the Tyrod Taylor hype.
The Tyrod Taylor hype that you created, no one else. I have the Steelers, the Bills, and also the Titans. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the Steelers will have the 3rd best record in the AFC, but we'll have to be a wildcard team. Stuff you, Neil. Let's go NFC then. NFC East. Liz.
Philadelphia Eagles.
I've also gone for the Philadelphia Eagles. Neil, I'm reading yours and you haven't, which leads me to believe you're cheating. So please explain.
I just think in the weeks that have, since we discussed the NFC East many, many moons ago, I have evaluated things. I've sat down, I've looked, I've weighed one thing against the other, and I just think offensively they're absolutely incredible. Defensively they may struggle, and I think if it came down to a toss-up and it goes to the wire, I will take Doug Peterson out coaching Mike McCarthy / Kellen Moore. But I just think in terms of pure offensive firepower, the Cowboys have an advantage over the Eagles, as the Eagles are already nicked up.
NFC South champs. Dutton.
The New Orleans Saints.
I've also gone for the Saints. Liz.
I went for Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa
Bay, love it. We should play a game of who didn't pick the Seahawks to win the NFC West, Neil?
Yeah, I've gone 49ers. No hangover here.
Yeah, absolutely the same. And that's coming from a Seahawks fan.
Didn't pick the Seahawks. I have picked the Seahawks because I love.
Oh, that's nice.
I haven't picked them. That's nice, but I didn't pick them.
I mean,
I would have picked them anyway, even if you weren't on the show.
Yeah, the Seahawks fan acknowledges this 8-8 outfit is not winning their division.
By the way, on that note, I wonder if the Seattle Seahawks fan knows that this week, a weekly podcast which was streamed Wednesday, this week starring Shaquille O'Neal. It's called Danger Talk with Russell Wilson, available on the ESPN app.
Love Russ.
I mean, I love Russ, but that could be a bad listen.
I thought this was a bad listen.
Yeah. NFC North, Neil. You've gone Vikings because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone Vikings because I want to. Liz, who have you gone for in the NFC North?
I went for Packers on this one.
Love it. You haven't listened to our NFC North preview where we absolutely lambasted them because that was fun. Neil, yeah, that's how we roll. Neil, give me 3 NFC wildcard teams.
Philadelphia Eagles. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got the Seahawks squeaking in just because of Russell Wilson. But can everyone, this is just a plea, I know not everyone's listening, because I know no one's listening. Can we stop asking the hypothetical? But what if they let Cook? They're not going to. It's like saying, but what if Natalie Portman lifted that restraining order on me? It's not going to happen. Why do we keep discussing this?
Yeah, sorry Neil, I won't bring it up again. My NFC wildcard teams are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
Just need to find some water to spit. Hang on a second.
Yeah, just wait there. Let me just get a drink so I can spit it out. Liz, have you got wildcard teams?
I mean, yeah, I'd love Seahawks to get the wild card. So yeah, Seahawks, Bucks, and Packers. No, not Packers. No. Yeah, Packers. I think.
Vikings, right? You got Packers as the division winner, I think.
Oh yeah, I have one. Okay, yeah, well, just Vikings then.
Makes sense. Let's pick some title games. AFC title game, Dutton.
The Ravens at the Chiefs.
No, Ravens win the playoff game. That'd be cool. Cute.
Well, I'm brand loyal.
Exactly right.
Although my loyalty to this brand is waning.
Liz, have you got an AFC title
So
game?
I was obviously stuck between it being like for AFC North being between Ravens and Steelers. So I don't know. I've got a feeling it could actually be Steelers versus Chiefs in that one.
Love it. I wish I had that kind of chutzpah. I haven't. I've gone Ravens and Chiefs because I'm also a wimp. Neil, NFC title game for you?
Vikings at Saints.
There's a friend of ours who will be listening to this on his journey to Birkenhead tomorrow who's not going to like our picks in the NFC because we have both picked the Saints. I've got them playing Tampa Bay in an NFC South matchup. Yeah, that's right, Chal. We believe Sean Payton might win some games in the playoffs this year. Liz, who have you got in the NFC title game?
So I went for Bucks versus 49ers on this one.
Nice. Who wins that game for you? And who gets to the Super Bowl?
So Bucks win that game for me, and Bucks get to the Super Bowl.
And do they play the Chiefs, I assume?
Yeah, they play the Chiefs. And yeah, Tampa lifts the Lombardi.
Oh my God! Could you imagine Charles? Charles? Nick, unbearable.
If that happens, he's suspended from the podcast for a season.
If he does that, we put him on the podcast and he would talk for 5 hours and neither of us would talk. Yeah. Me and Neil have weirdly gone for the exact same Super Bowl, which guarantees it won't happen. We've both gone Chiefs against Saints.
Ah.
I assume you think that Patrick Mahomes is winning again, Neil?
Oh, yeah.
Me too. They're the picks. What you will find by about week 17, 18. If we've done really well, we'll bring this up again. If we didn't do really well, you will never hear this talked about again.
Not once.
Let's move on to the fancy. And me and you are going to give our daily fancy teams of the week.
Mains and Duts. Daily fantasy team of the week.
Show me the money. Show me the money indeed, Cuba. Neil, as always, DraftKings. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and a defensive special teams. Who's your quarterback, Neil?
My quarterback, 5,600, is Tyrod Taylor. Los Angeles Chargers at Cincinnati Bengals. Now, as we know, Tyrod Taylor offers a rushing floor. He may not be the most prolific passer, but he does tend to average about 35 to 40 rushing yards per game. And in standard leagues, that's as good as another touchdown. So for the cheap price of just 5,600, I'm all aboard the tie train.
First of all, never call it the tie train again.
I don't know what happened there. I honestly don't know where that came from.
Second of all, my quarterback is the man, the myth, the legend, the podcast host himself, Mr. Russell Wilson. 7,000. He's playing Atlanta. you may ask, if you listen to Neil, why would we do that? Because he only throws in one quarter. However, Atlanta are bad they're going to score a lot of points way. So I assume that they're going to have to let him cook, quote unquote, more than they should. And by the way, Russell Wilson, although he never does anything and no one lets him do anything, has been like a top 3 fantasy quarterback basically every year for the past 4. So, when he wasn't injured.
He'd be the ultimate fantasy quarterback if they let him doing things on first down and in the first 3 quarters of a game.
I'm aware. I'm just saying, in a fantasy point of view, he still gets a lot of points. I'm not suggesting he could get 40 a game. Of course he could. But I'll take the 25 right now. Who's your running back 1, Neil?
Running back 1, same game, same teams. Austin Eckler, 7,000. The Bengals' run defence is putrid. Eckler probably is not going to have the same amount of opportunity he had last year to start the season. Obviously, there was no Melvin Gordon. But I still think that he's going to get enough of the opportunities. He's going to have challenges from the likes of Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly, but I think at the moment he is the man. So I like him at 7,000.
My running back 1 is Miles Sanders. He's playing for Neil's Philadelphia Eagles against my Washington football team. He's going to get a load of touches because I think it's just him and Carson Wentz on offense, possibly Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert as well. So yeah, Miles Sanders will get a load of play. Philadelphia probably crush Washington. So 6,300.
Well, you are forgetting there is someone else in the offense, but we will both be coming to him, I assume.
Yeah. Sorry, of course. Yeah, my wide receiver 3 is DeSean Jackson. He's 4,900. Running back 2, Neil.
Now, many people have been besmirching this man for his draft position going into the season because he has a complete absence of receiving down work. But playing against the Carolina Panthers, I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to need to see an awful lot of targets. Their run defense last year was terrible. They have not exactly improved it. This is a very, very young defense. I know it's on the road, but I think this is going to be a situation where the Raiders can get up early and will stay up, and that will need more opportunities for Jacobs. He's 6,800.
My running back 2 is Kareem Hunt. 5,100. There's a logic to this. I think Baltimore win the game against Cleveland, and to do that, that means that Cleveland will have to catch up. To do that, they will not run the ball as much, but will want to run him back in to catch short passes. That will be Kareem Hunt. That will not be Nick Chubb. This is not a week for Nick Chubb players. This is a week for Kareem Hunt players. Neil, who's your wide receiver 1?
In the same game, but now on the opposition, it's DJ Moore. Say the Panthers, I think, will be behind. That will mean they're going to have to pass the ball more. That means Teddy Bridgewater dropping back an awful lot. But we know that this offensive line isn't the best and can't protect him very long. So that means going to be short passes, and that means DJ Moore is going to get absolutely peppered. He's 6,600.
My wide receiver 1 is Chris Godwin. On the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Liz's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, no less. Tom Brady must be like, wow, I remember this. These are wide receivers. This is cool. And I assume he will use Godwin and Evans a lot. And I've gone for Godwin this week, 7,100. Neil, wide receiver 2.
Wide receiver 2, taking advantage of things that don't exist. Father Christmas, the Tooth Fairy, the New York Jets secondary. I've gone for Stephon Diggs. He's 6,400. I say the Bills are playing against the Jets. This is Diggs' debut. We know that Diggs is one of the best deep ball receivers in the NFL. Obviously, he's not exactly been paired with one of the best deep ball passers. However, I think the fact that complete absence of any secondary will mean that Josh Allen doesn't have to be that accurate, because Diggs will have plenty of open space to get whatever comes his way. So I don't think he's going to get 10 receptions, but could I see him getting 5 and a couple of them being touchdowns? Absolutely. 6,400.
I've also gone for Stephon Diggs. Neil gave a load of guff about the New York Jets defence, which will be bad. He should have kept that Jamal Adams. He was good. But I've gone for the pure debut factor here, right? This is pure Stanley Collymore against Sheffield Wednesday, 1995 vibe. Stephon Diggs, let's be having you. 6,400. Neil, is Deshaun Jackson your wide receiver 3 or flex?
He's my wide receiver 3, 4,900. It's the opening game of the season. This is when Sean comes out to play, and he's playing Washington. It just seems that 65% of Deshaun Jackson's career touchdowns have been from at least 50 yards out and against Washington, which is odd considering he spent 2 years there. But there's the rub. 4,900. It was his name was the first on this team sheet.
Let's be fair, Neil. 94% of all of his yards and touchdowns have been against either Philadelphia or Washington for the other team. So therefore, I have also got Deshaun Jackson for his 3 catches, 120 yards and 2 scores. Who's your tight end?
Tight end's one of my boys. It's Chris Herndon. The Jets are playing the Buffalo Bills. I say they're going to be behind an awful lot. The Bills are quite tough against tight ends. They're quite tough against everyone. They obviously have an excellent secondary. Tre'Davious White, another person who got a big contract this week. We didn't mention him, but this is strictly a volume play. I don't think Sam Darnold is going to have anywhere else to go except Jamison Crowder and Chris Herndon. So if we're looking at from a volume point of view, Herndon should get plenty of opportunities, and he's only 3,300.
I've gone for Hayden Hurst, this year's Austin Hooper. Weird with tight ends in Atlanta, but I think he probably only get three catches, and one of them will be a touchdown, and therefore you get your victory of that's how many points you need.
I just worry. The thing I worry about Hayden Hurst, though, he is older than Walt Flanagan's dog. To borrow a phrase from I think it was Mallrats. It's all this opportunity. Yeah, but you do know that last season doesn't just happen again.
Well, it happens this week. Who's your flex, Neil?
My flex is James White. The Patriots are welcoming the Miami Dolphins. The running back situation for the Patriots is an absolute mess, as per usual, start of the season. The one thing we do know that's consistent is that James White is going to be there, and he'll probably be the one catching any passes that Cam Newton deigns to dump off to him. James White's role is not going to be adversely affected by the presence of Cam Newton, because James White is more of the receiving back anyway. So 6,000, in keeping my preference of having a running back in the flex spot, which you do not, and have continued in your vein, start the season off in that. I'll have James White at 6,000.
I've got everyone's favourite muscle man, DK Metcalf, as my Russell Hustle Muscle Bustle Wilson handcuff.
Never ever say that again.
That's what cousin Sal calls him on the Bill Simmons pod. DK Metcalf 5,800. I think in a something that Pete Carroll will hate, that Seattle against Atlanta has a chance to be a shootout. DK Metcalf was excellent in his first season in Seattle in the NFL, and I expect it to continue in 5,800. Neil, who is your defense and special teams?
You may remember there have been times where we've targeted a particular team as often as we can. Yeah,
I hope you've targeted the same team I have. Go on.
Yeah, his team will be the Jacksonville Jaguars, so I've gone for the Indianapolis Colts at 3,000. There's no one there on offense for the Jags. No one.
Checks notes also picked Indianapolis. Reason, Jags stink. Actually wrote it down on my OneNote. Totally agree with you. We will be following you around Jacksonville. Be prepared. Neil, let's recap. Quarterback.
Ty God.
No. Ty God. No, stop it. I've gone for Russell Wilson, running back 1.
Austin Eckler.
I've got Miles Sanders, running back 2.
Josh Jacobs.
I've got Kareem Hunt, wide receiver 1.
DJ Moore.
I've got Chris Godwin, wide receiver 2.
Stephon Diggs.
Cosign, wide receiver 3.
Deshaun Jackson.
Cosign. Tight end.
Chris Herndon.
One for Hayden Hurst. Flex.
Sweet feet James White.
I think it's ironic that I've got Flex and DK Metcalf, because boy can that boy flex. And defence and special teams.
The Colts of Indianapolis.
I've also gone for the Colts of Indianapolis. We've kept Liz quiet for 10 minutes there, Liz, so hope you stayed awake.
Just about.
Fantastic.
That
That's
went
right to hear.
so over my head, these numbers you mentioned. I'm like, this is why I don't play fantasy.
That's why we let Neil do the numbers right. That's what we do. That's what we do. Neil, before we go, where can people catch you this week?
Find me on the Twitter at ndutton13. See, next week it'll be my in-season stuff, so I'll have my weekly stats for Number Fire. I'll also be doing an update on the updated Super Bowl odds for Number Fire. I'll be doing a slightly new piece for Rotoviz. Instead of just doing the tight end streamers, it will be the tight end report, and this will be all the stats you need for tight ends from the week before: who got the most targets, who got the most air yards, which tight ends have been signed, released, injured, and there'll be 3 weekly streamers every week. So that, plus I'll be doing the usual stuff for Ravens Wire, hear about whatever the good editor tells me to write.
Liz, promote yourself greatly on the show, please.
Well, Neil, you're a busy man. For me on social media, yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook at NFLGirlUK. Check out my blog, NFLGirlUK.com. And if you are up for hearing a female voice talk about NFL, then check out my podcast, Cleats Off Podcast. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I am at Mainsy7. I will be giving Mains's musing on the touchdown.co.uk every week, discussing what I think will be happening in the week going forward. So the first one comes out this week, probably Friday or Saturday. Combine me and Neil are at waxing_lyrical. Week 1 is upon us, everybody. Thank you, Liz, for joining us. These top guys and Liz, of course, are out.
Awesome.